Yeah, ready.
Apologies, Daniel the Centurion Farker. Your clock is not out. We were just catching up and chinwagging and talking football and talking the parade, of course, as well, which we all had an amazing time for. The only person missing was, of course, the Italian Stallion, but hopefully we'll get him at the Creator Cup and we can...
maybe in August, man, too. Maybe in August.
Maybe in August. There we go. Folks, if you haven't already, while you were waiting, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and of course hit that notification bell. What I thought we would do is just have a look at the squad. I know, like normally you do keep, buy, sell, loan video, and we can all do that. I know a few channels will be doing that, but I just thought we'd switch it up, obviously, rather than go through every individual player. We've seen the first credible link to Leeds United today, coming from Rob Dorset at Sky Sports, who's the Yorkshire-based Sky Sports reporter, saying that Leeds United are looking at Beto. So we'll have a little chat about Beto. We've been linked to players like Souček and stuff in the past. Is there a case for Leeds United to be going for Premier League proven players? And if so, which players at Leeds United are gonna, be sold, basically? We all know about PSR, FFP. There isn't, I think there's 60 million allowable losses. And obviously, in order to increase that, you'll need to make player sales. So we're just going to talk about, maybe throw some names out there who we think might be up for sale, if you like, because we have a small squad as it is anyway, right? So we don't want to lose everyone. But there might be some that the club look at and say, listen, it makes sense for us to make that. Kendall's put Sean Longstaff. He's another name that we've continuously been linked to be fair. So it's one on there. And big up to Joe B as well. We've got a Joe Blackburn raid, Happy Clapper Pigeon raid. Love that. We were proved right. The Happy Clappers. Yeah, free transfers such as Decore could be an option. Exactly. The Beto one. Let's start there, boys. First and foremost. First credible link. We've been linked to every man and his dog, as we will do, right? As every Premier League club is. But this seems to be the first genuine credible link that we've seen. Andrea, I'm going to come to you because obviously before he transferred over to Everton, he played in Serie A for Udinese. So I wanted to get your opinion on Beto. Look, I did a video earlier on and so many people are like, we need better, we can do better. Someone actually said he's too old at 27, which blew my mind because that's like peak age for a...
I feel offended now.
Yeah. That's young, Matt.
Yeah, I know, but to be honest, that's prime age, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so talk to us about Beto, mate, and what you think about that.
Yeah, I think, like you said, this credible link also not just because of the source, but also because of the fact that he's playing in the Premier League with Everton. So Premier League player, it doesn't always work, when you sign players from the Premier League, but they know the league. Of course, you cannot predict the future when you sign a player, even established players, but Beto, I think it's a different kind of 9 that we're missing, when he played in Italy, I keep smiling because it was sort of a cult hero, a page, like satirical / serious page, very famous in Italy, called La Ragione di Stato. It's like, for the state, something like that, for the sake of the state. The translation, it's a saying that Machiavelli used to say in one of his books, the famous writer / everything basically in the Middle Ages.
When you say
it was
that,
like
sorry, I need to say this.
Tupac.
Tupac, Machiavelli, yeah, Illuminati.
Assassin's Creed, like Assassin's Creed,
like
brother.
Gay shoddy. Film it. Sorry.
It was sort of a cult hero, it was like every time he was on the pitch scoring, like they were boosting his exposure, and like we did, like with the Shawumni, those kind of players, when they have a connection instantly. But talking seriously, he's a physical striker, but with pace. He's not, of course, a player that can play like Pirot. It's a completely different number 9. It's like the old style number 9. Like in the 70s, they were called the Mavericks. There was this big, tall number 9 called Stambols, at QPR in the 70s. I even mentioned United. If some of you, I'm sure I've read that book. So it's a 9 fighting for real balls, a 9 that scores, especially with headers. Very good in the area. All the player, but I remember also the Udinese, they have a good scouting network, a lot of players from Africa, from Eastern Europe, and I think they got him from the Portuguese league, if I remember correctly. But yeah, the good impact, in Serie A is not easy, because you've seen many players struggling after moving to Serie A, because the intensity is higher in the Premier League, in the Bundesliga, in La Liga. Maybe there's a lot more technique and talent, but in Serie A, defenses are tough. Look at Barcelona. Look at other teams. Even Bayern struck with Inter. We are the masters of defend, as you know very well from Wembley. In 2021. So it was
rugby tackling as well, mate. Rugby tackling on poor Saka, the poor lad.
Short bowling and all of that. Yeah, he was a good player, especially reading, even attacking in depth. Is a typical. It's like in the type of football. It's like an all-around player in the line with his body, like Chris Wood. That type. But yeah, he's not that slow. There's other number 9s that are really, really slow. One of the 9s that is tall and fast, but is also thin, is Isaac, of course, for Newcastle League. Beto is tall, but he's not, of course, pacey as Isaac, but he's not as
so what slow. You're saying is, Daniel Farke is going to unlock Isaac Part 2.
Not saying that, but yeah, just to give the to give like a good speech. He's not a slow player. Yeah. But if you launch him like Inter did with Turan yesterday, he can run in behind. He has the pace to like the challenging behind. The defense. So yeah, I think it will be a good signing, especially because it's a 9 that we're missing currently. If it was down to me, it wouldn't be my first choice, of course.
No, of course.
But yeah, like I always said, we keep Pirot. We still have Bamford under contract, so we need to see what we're gonna do with Bamford first and foremost. There's also Joseph, but ideally for me, it's 2 new number 9s and Pirot. You need 3 at least. Good, and I think it can be that 9 apart from the starting number 9. In my mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Challenging for the spot, with Pirot. They can challenge each other.
Yeah, we need something different, right? Don't we? We need something different to what Pirot gives us. And one thing, when I've watched a few videos, I mean, we'll swing over to Lockie in a sec, but like his heading stood out. Obviously, his pacey is very much he'll kick it past the defender and run to get on the end of his own ball. You know what I mean? And I think one thing we do lack in the forward area, apart from James, obviously, but from our strikers, is pace, right? We don't really have Bamford's. It takes him a while to get up to top speed. Pirot's runs like in treacle sometimes, so it is something we lack. And if we're looking to play on the counter, which we do at times, especially in the Premier League, someone like him and would be great. And someone made a comment about how he'd give Van Dijk a bit of a tough time. And I know, Lockie, you were away watching that game against Liverpool. He was physical. And what do you make to Beto? Something we need?
Yeah,
like that.
The profile is exactly what we need. I think whether it be him or not, I think with them kind of loitering around bottom mid-table, I think that might be quite tough. But I think the profile is exactly what we need. I think this team massively lacks, especially for the Premier League, physical players. Yeah. Whether that's pacey, strong, quick, whatever that is, we need it for me. And as you said, Perrault, for all his good qualities, and he is an excellent finisher, and his one-touch stuff is really good, he is not a physical player. He's not really a presence. He's not someone who can really hold the ball up against big, strong, demanding centre-backs in the Premier League. Beto is. He's not, I mean, Andre obviously can tell me that. From what I've seen anyway, it's not loads. He doesn't seem like a very clinical player. He also seems a little scrappy and messy at times.
Of course, yeah.
But one that is really he's always going to be in that game because he's always around. He's always looking for the ball. He's always going for headers. He can hold the ball up. He can run in behind. His movement's pretty sharp. The game I was watching Liverpool, it's from a free kick and he just runs off Van Dijk and he scores. We need that for me. Like I said, we've got the finisher in Joe Perrault. I feel like we need a player who's just going to be there and really put it in, be a real presence, because I think we need it all over the pitch. But that striker role is going to be massive in the Prem, because how many times are we going to need that outlet up top just to win a foul, just to do anything, just to win headers, bring the ball down, be a vocal point for our attacks? It's going to be massive. For me, what I will say, though, is I do think it's important that we have quick, direct players around him, which, in fairness, we do have, which is why, for me, I like it, especially looking at Dan James and Ramazani, two players who will just attack spaces and play around him. I think is really dangerous. So, yeah, that profile for me is what I'm looking for, to be honest. Whether it's him or not, I'm not sure. But
someone
we need a bit of that. Someone mean as well. He's mean.
Yeah.
He'll fight any centre-back. He's not bothered. We need that.
And he definitely, having seen clips of him, he's going to endear himself to the fan base with that type of attitude. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's sorry, Andrew, I'll say 2 seconds. Sorry, mate. I feel like everyone's just too obsessed with, and I understand it with the goal tally. Yeah. Look, in order for us to find a striker that's going to score 20 in the Prem, we've got to be lucky. If we're looking for current players who have got above 15 goals in their league, the chances are they're going to get snapped up by a top 5 team in any league in Europe. So we have to figure out what else can we get from a striker. We've got our goal scorer in Joe Perrault. I think he could score at any level. I do. He's got that quality. But we need the guy that's going to drag us through games. He's also good in set-piece situations. Little things like that. The guy who's going to run, work hard, be physical, make defenders know that they're in a horrible game. That's what I want players. We need to bring players like that. So again, whether it's him or not, I'm not sure. But definitely that profile for me, mate.
And by the way, too, about the goal tally, he started at 12 games, played 27, and was subbed in 15. He scored 7. It's not that bad, honestly, with the player not starting consistently, honestly. But
you know what I want to say,
glad.
Andreas?
Go on,
jump in as well. But and then you can take over. Dyche barely played him. He was getting little minutes, sub minutes. And then when Moyes came in, he started playing him more regularly. And that's when he went on his scoring run. So in 12 starts, 7 goals, for me, isn't that bad. And he was actually their joint top scorer with that 7. So it shows how many goals Everton were scoring, Andre,
Yeah, absolutely. You know that I don't like much Dyche ball, people remember that. Let's go back to some, like last season, when Farke was criticized and there were people calling for Dyche to replace him. It's all football for me. It's effective if you want to stay up like Everton won last season, but I like Moyes more, honestly. Yeah, he's done a great job at West Ham. He was treated unfairly down there in London, in East London, and now with Everton, they have a decent squad. Honestly, I won't say great on anything, but honestly, if he manages to work the players and get players that were barely played or played badly in terms of how they were used, like Beto, fair play to him, because he's a manager that has shown in the past too that he knows how to develop a player. And honestly, Beto has the physicality to play in the Premier League. He just needs to to get a good run. But of course, like Lockie said, about the being clinical, that's one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why I said it won't be the main choice for me, because I think as the starter we need a completely different profile, but you need completely, and I agree with that, a tall, strong number 9 for certain situation. We've seen the impact Bamford in the championship when he returned from injury, like at Oxford, to keep us up, gain a foul, or even just when Falke throws Bamford in with Pirocos, we wanted to score a goal or keep the ball up on the pitch, in the final stages. So absolutely, we need that profile in the squad, 100%.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It'll be an interesting one. And it'll be, I think the tough thing is obviously, I think Everton have got 15 players out of contract in the summer. And Beto's not one of them. So he's probably one that they'd like to keep. Makes you wonder if you think Angus Kinnear's going there. Leeds United are linked to Beto. There's Jack Harrison. So there could be some sort of madness to get round PSR. We don't know that, right? We know that clubs do operate in a bit of a mad way. So who knows?
Yeah.
But what I will say, let's have a look. Oh, we've got an Evertonian. Let's have a look. Ray says, as an Evertonian, I like Beto. He's a good finisher and he's quick to balls in behind. However, he's quite unpredictable and has no hold-up ability. I won't be too disappointed if he leaves, if I'm honest. I do think that, like I was going to say on that as well, it's like he might just need to go and be the main man somewhere as well, right? If I remember rightly, when he scored a goal, maybe Ray, you can tell us different. David Reyes saved the PSG pen. He was quite emotional after he'd scored when he'd been reintroduced back into the side after Moyes had taken over and stuff. You might be better, but I remember seeing an interview, Ray, I swear. So it might just mean that he needs to go be a main man somewhere, and refine his form. Not that he's been out of form, you know what I mean? To score 7 goals in the Premier isn't that bad. I understand a lot of Leeds, we need more. We need 20, 30 goals a streak. But the facts are, if Beto was a clinical finisher, again, he wouldn't be available to us. But I guess my question is to you folks, before we move on to our squad, lads. What would you be willing to pay? He went for about 20 million, I think. I wouldn't want to be paying no more than that for Beto. I mean, 15, 20 million, you wouldn't want to pay anything more than that, would you,
No, this is it for me. It's the same for Solomon, honestly. It's the same for a lot of players. I think as good as they are, there is always going to be an alternative. Now, that alternative might be in Europe, therefore be a bit more of a risk. But if you're paying, over 20 million for this player, it's a lot to give out. And if you're even Solomon, I love Solomon and he's been outstanding for us, especially for the last few months. He really has. But if they're pushing you over that 25 million mark, you know what I mean? As a winger, there's wingers in Europe that you can get from probably smaller clubs that can't demand that. I think we've got to be careful what we spend this summer. And obviously, the guys in charge they'll be very savvy in what they do. So, and I just wanted to quickly mention, on Beto, I'm just looking at the players around him, and for me, looking at McNeil, Harrison, Alcaraz, who play on the wings or wide for them, I don't feel they're the perfect mixture with him. I feel you need more quick runners in tight spaces, a bit like Ramazani or James, for example. For me, they're more kind of technical players, and I feel he just needs runners around him.
Yeah. I did see that goal, actually, Ray. It was a ball from the guy Njai, him who was at Sheffield United, I think. Who they got. It was a great ball and a great header as well, to be fair. He's quite good in the air. On
the money, I think we cannot spend anything less than 20 because, of course, they pay 20, so they want one sell for less. I think the real value is down the region of 20, to be fair. But honestly, it would be a loss for them. So honestly, I think I agree with Locke. I think there's similar players where you can pay maybe the same fee or less that are better, I think that's a lot of money if it's the same as 20 or north. And I agree also with the think of Solomon, but before Solomon, Beto at Udinese, just to say something to Ray too, it's a different style of football compared to the one Everton playing. So it was like route one to him. He had a second striker behind him in Isaac Success and Gerard Deulofeu, the 2 seasons he played as the starters. So it was a completely different style of football. I don't think there's been a lot of chances to play like he did in Italy in that way, with the stop the ball, pass, and sprinting behind. That's the thing he does better. But yeah, overall, I agree with what we said, and on Solomon too. I think I won't spend 20 or more for Solomon. To be fair, it's of course I think they will ask that sum. He's a player that has shown his qualities, but he's shown this quality in the championship, and honestly, 20 million for a player that was probably one, if not the main best player in the championship this season. For Leeds, of course, he was the most effective one. I don't know, honestly. It doesn't convince me at this point. We know Solomon, but he's fast. He's a great build-up player too, when he gets inside. But he's also, he's short too. And, we've seen the trend in the Premier League going towards faster and stronger wingers. Like look at Nottingham Forest, for example, Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, not to mention the top clubs. So I don't know. I don't want to spend more than 20, to be fair, honestly. Otherwise, it's like the same discussion we had last season with Rodon. In the end, we got him for less than what we were talking about because of the great deal too. There were 2 separate deals, of course, but I think they went down in parallel lines, But I won't spend more than 20, honestly. I think 15, 16 is the right value, to be fair, for Solomon.
Fair. Right, boys. We over the coming weeks. PSG have scored to make it 2. By the way, Hakimi with the goal. We know we've seen players linked, and more will come in over the next few weeks for sure. But in terms of Leeds United, we know we're going to see some exits, right? Parag said as much. So I just wanted us to have a conversation about what that looks like. Like, who do we think is up for the chop, if you like? Because I was talking about it earlier, and everyone goes, "Well, you've got Gelhardt, Greenwood," and I'm like, "Yeah, but then they're a drop in the ocean. It's not even worth speaking about them." I think what you can have kept for Greenwood, $500,000, nil. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest. We have to try. So they're not really going to do anything in terms of the PSR. So, and then I look at, people will laugh, but when you talk about Byram, you talk about Cairns. I think Danny put it brilliantly the other day when he spoke about the homegrown quota and them players being able to fill them spots without having to bring a player in, for example. Byram would be more than happy than being a 4th choice fullback at Leeds United in the Prem. Genuinely, he wouldn't playing in the Cup. You don't have to buy anyone, and it's towards your homegrown quota. Same with Cairns being 3rd choice keeper. So we're probably going to see some players, a bit like last season. We saw Kamara. You know me, I was very unhappy about it. I didn't want him to sell. I thought Rothwell was the... And Rothwell ended up being an improvement in the end. I didn't see it at the time, though. And, Arsenal have got one back. Saka, 2-1, 15 minutes left. I think we're going to see some surprising ones, if you like. And the first one I want to talk about is Mateo Joseph, which might seem wild to some and probably the wrong decision maybe to others as well, which I get because he's definitely one for the future. But I think the way Leeds United will look at it, lads, and I was saying this earlier, it's all about the here and now. You can prepare for the future, but if you're not in the Premier League, what was it for? So I think if I was to ask you a question and say, will we miss Mateo Joseph next year? The answer's no. Like we've all spoke about him potentially going out on loan. So if an Espanyol, a Betis, a club like this came and said to Leeds United, we'll buy him for 15 million, let's say, I think the club will look to accept that because it is pure profit as well. He's a player we brought in for next to nothing. He'd go down as homegrown, I believe, as well. So it'd be money that'd just purely be profit. I don't know what you folks think about it. And I get Andrew saying send him on loan. I would like to do that, but I'm just thinking in terms of a PSR perspective, they might look at that and say, we make money straight off the bat.
Yeah, I think obviously we don't want to sell him, but this is the frustrating thing about the way this works. Clubs like Leeds are forced to sell their young talents because, like you said, they're the ones who are the best on the books when you sell them because you obviously brought them in for nothing. And Mateo Joseph is that. I think what did we pay? Like $500,000, I think it was when he first came in, or something ridiculous like that, something really small. And he came through the academy, obviously at 18s to 21s, and made his way to the first team. So if you can get plus 10 to 15, 20 million, like that's ridiculous on the books. No one wants to do that, but that's the situation we're in because, you know, all the top teams in the world hoover all the talent and they don't have to sell it because they could just sell some random 19-year-old from their academy for 3-4 million every year, which is what happens. So that's the situation we're in. I'm looking through the team and yeah, people want to talk about Byram, you know, people like that. But again, yeah, we need them. We need that homegrown quota. Gray's not going to get sold because obviously that is too young for a start. You won't get any money from it at this point. He'd stay again for Chambers. There's not many there that give you a massive profit. So these people that Prague are speaking about is interesting to me. You know, Darko Jaby's had a good season. Could he be one potentially that you can get a few million for? You know, it is tough. And you are initially looking and thinking, right, who are these players that you get pure profit from? You are thinking, yeah, Joseph, Nonto we got for slightly different, but it weren't a lot, was it?
It wasn't a lot, no.
And
no,
unfortunately, these are the conversations we have to have. I'd love to keep all our talent and send them on loan, and then they can be worth 20, 30 million in 2-3 years' time. But because of these ridiculous rules, we can't do that, which is a joke because all the top teams can. So yeah, I don't know what you think, Andre, about this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I think it's a realistic scenario. I know that it may hurt some people, you know, and I totally agree with the fact that it's getting, you know, modern football is getting ridiculous. I know it might sound, you know, rhetorical or something like that, but clubs are forced to sell their top talents to fund their living, you know. And it's not the case of Leeds because we're not in threat of financial problems. But if you look at other clubs, they are looking to sell their top talent because they need funds to continue to operate year after year, you know, because they got in debt, you know, with huge spending trying to get up. I'm not talking specifically about England, but if you go, for example, in Spain or in Italy, you know, that's common. You know, there's a lot of clubs with huge debts, you know, that are forced to sell their talents in order to try to get some money back, you know, in order to continue to operate. But I think it's realistic, you know, because you know, 900K we paid for Victor Orta, made us pay for to Espanyol. You know, it was a good deal, honestly, because we spent around 1 million and it was really, really, really rated at the time. You know, they were. Leeds was not the only academy interested. You know, I think the fact that his dad is British, you know, from I think with origins from Antigua and Barbuda, you know, played a part in that because he wanted to move to England, but there were also top clubs in Spain that wanted him for their academy, so it was a fair sum. Right now, I think he's not ready, like you said, Geoff, to play in the Premier League. And I don't think we'll miss him. Sorry, I don't want to twist your words. You know, you said that we won't miss him in the Premier League. I agree because he's not ready for me. That's my opinion, of course, to play in the Premier League. And I agree with everyone saying that we need to make him go out on loan because it's for its own good, you know. Because imagine a good season for a club in Spain that wants to stay up, for example, even returning to Espanyol, because they're not they've not progressed yet. At least they're safe apparently this season, but yeah, they're not progressing to the next step. You know, it will do a lot of good for him, you know, and that's the proper solution. But the problem is that with PSR and all that stuff, those financial rules, they make the club, and it's not the club's fault, they make you plan short-term, short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the club's fault, you have to plan, like even JB, he had a good season with Plymouth. There's players that, develop late, they emerge late. Maybe JB, we sell him for, I don't know how, to a championship club. He has a good season, and next season or the season after he moved to a Premier League club. Look what happened with Leaf Davis, for example.
Yeah.
That's one of the examples. So yeah, I think it's realistic of that. If a good Son, because he's rated, of course, in Spain. Because of what he's doing with the under 21, Santi Denia. The national team manager really rates him, and yeah, he's been playing with Fermin Lopez, Aymar Ross, those talents, and those talents playing La Liga, So I think his ultimate goal is getting into the Spanish squad in I don't know, maybe if he goes there, he has higher chances, in my opinion. But yeah. I don't know in many years, but his ultimate goal is to try to get into the Spanish squad. And we know for a fact that Luis de la Fuente, like we've seen at the Euro, and you too have seen at the Euros, especially in Berlin, in that fateful night when Spain beat.
He loves doing this. Yeah, he loves it.
When our Mediterranean brothers.
He brings something up about England, man. Here we go.
Yeah. When our Mediterranean brothers,
mate, we've got Tommy Tuchel in Brazil, mate. Don't you worry about that.
I
think what am I on about?
In Brazil. Yeah, it's even in the Americas. It's in the Americas. It's all right. Yeah. But yeah, I think now you have a good manager with England, and if a good offer arrives, like I don't think we get more than 10 million. Honestly, I think we are talking about a region down 10 million pounds. Honestly, to be fair, but I don't know, for PSR we may do it, but. Like I said, it's short-term, short-sighted, but it's not the club's fault if it happens. It's because of the financial rules,
100%. We've seen it. We might see us do deals with clubs as well, like we saw in the Premier League, where Chelsea were doing deals with Villa, where, Newcastle did deals with Forest, for example. Eddie Howe was speaking on that video earlier on that TalkSport put out, where he was saying, like, there's almost 2 transfer deadline days. There's the PSR deadline, and then you have the actual transfer deadline day. So I suppose it's actually a good thing Leeds United have, Steins, who worked at Spurs. We've seen that relationship came off in the Championship with the players that we got, when we got Rodon, when we got Spence on loan, and then you've got, I genuinely think this Kinnear Everton thing, and then Beto and the Harrison thing, it could well be, might be nothing, but it could also be something. But yeah, Jeremy said, didn't Betis offer 12 million for Joseph in January? We don't know. It seemed to come after the fact, after the window shut, didn't it? One of them. Oh, well, we managed to stop bids. I mean, we actually rejected bids. One of them. We read all the time, don't we? So you don't know what the truth is sometimes. But Lockie, have you got any player you look at in the squad that you think? Because I think Gruev as well, because we saw him linked previously, and I know Andrea is nodding his head, but is it one of them that if a club in Germany, again, it's quick double your money, like we did with Kamara, or get some, and then you look to reinvest that maybe in a Decore or a Souček or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love these players, but we've got to look at it like kind of from a cold perspective. Yeah, Gruev, outstanding. But yeah, if you're doubling your money on a player who, as much as I love him, he is replaceable. You can replace Gruev,
of course.
You know what I mean? And even with a younger profile, if he's not a starting player in the Prem, which I don't think he would be, you could argue you could sell him for double what you got him, bring in a younger profile you could then sell in a few years for loads of money. That's the way football is, isn't it? You have to always think like that. But
100%.
Yeah, I'm looking at Gruev. Even I don't know. It's something about Strauch. I don't know. It's something about that one. There's always been little links. Club Bruges every year they pop up.
It's his injury record, though, isn't it? It's his injury record, man.
He has one a season, doesn't he? He has a bad one a season, but
yeah.
For me, I'm just looking at it from I think we need a left centre back. I think that's vital. Obviously, Voba, you'll imagine, will go. you can get some money for him.
Yeah,
Does
you can.
Stroud want to
sure.
really sit around? Can Stroud go play? I feel like he could. There's all these little things now in the Prem where you have to make these horrible decisions to players you really like. Yeah, I think Gruev's one of them, especially when you've already got Ampadu, Tanaka in that role. It's going to be quite difficult for him to get in the team. You could easily go to a decent Bundesliga team and be a good squad player there. So there's a lot of players in the team, honestly, like that. But he is one that stands out to me. Yeah, Gruev is one that. Yeah, but I can't help but look at our team. I'm just looking now, and the amount of players that we have a really small squad. You take Harrison, Solomon, Gelhardt, Gulavogi, Rothwell out of it. You take JB out of it, Chambers, Gray, Crew, DeBeo, the young lads. It's not big at all. You're talking 14, 15 players. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not in a rush to get rid of anyone. Obviously, I don't know the financial side of it, but we need a build for me. So if we can get rid of as little as possible, but make sure they're decent for PSR and actually bring in some top talent, that's the best thing for me. I don't want us to get rid of 5, 6, 7 players. Squad's too little at that point for me.
Yeah.
So true, innit, Andrea? So true. We have a small squad as it is, so it's we're gonna have to navigate it really carefully, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, because of the financial side of it, I think you need to sort out, and not be sentimental like they've said, Farke said, and Parag said, because there's ambition on the club. So yeah, I think they are already sorted, for the Premier League plan, what they want to keep and what they are offering to them into the market, players under contract, because I agree about Gruev, and it's not down to Gruev. I absolutely like him, because he's a fearless player. He has no fear to get in behind and tackle, to put his body hard for Leeds, as a fearless player. And he's always been there, ready. But that I've always been worried about the timing it takes for him to pass the ball and turn around. And the Premier League is, in that case, for me, really it doesn't forgive. Koulibaly, when he moved from Napoli to Chelsea, said in Italy you have the time to move the ball and think, and in the Premier League you have to think and move the ball. It's the phrase reverted, but I would say the same about Weigl, for example. There was linked like a few weeks ago. Similar players. It's the pace for me. It's the pace, really. It's the pace. So it's not down to Gruev being a player or anything. It's about the pace and the intensity of the Premier League, which is a complete different level and floor compared to the Championship. But yeah, I agree also on Weber too. I don't know. I have a sensation too about Aronson, to be fair. Like Strauch, Doki said about Strauch. Yeah, I agree on that, because of course he'll have suitors from especially abroad, but I think we should keep him, to be fair. I think we'll need to sign. Yeah, we have Rodon, Strauch, but you need to sign two other centre backs at least, like we did when we moved to the Premier League the first time. I remember that when we went into the first match day of that season with the Cooper, the only centre back that we knew, and then Strauch came into the side, of course, because all the others were injured, and then we signed Llorente and Koch too. I think Koch was there too already. I don't have a good memory. I think when the handball, I think, with Liverpool.
Koch.
It was Koch. So I think we signed. We had signed him, and then Llorente. So we signed two centre backs then. So
do you not think though they're that when I was saying in that track, like signing a Llorente is a little bit glamour signing in it. We just need, for me, I don't like genuinely. I remember
we spent a lot, mate, for them too.
Do you know? And then you see players like, and I know comments won't like it, but James Tarkowski at Everton, Ben Mee who went to Brentford. These sort of players, I think, genuinely Leeds United could do with. Do you know what I mean? That are not gonna be crazy amounts of money. Genuinely,
we've got Rodon, who's our kind of pace recovery defender. I feel like we need, and this is just top of my head, just an easy link is Elvedi. But someone that's physically strong and massive and dominant. That's what we need, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys agree.
What's Jamal Lascelles doing? He had a bit of a renaissance last season at Newcastle. You know what I mean? Just someone like that.
Because Robin Koch, this is the great example. Robin Koch for us I don't think he was terrible all the time. He had a period where he was pretty decent, but he did drop drastically, didn't he? He's now linked to Borussia Dortmund and is one of the best defenders in the Bundesliga. This is proof that profiles matter in the league. It's really important. Even Voba last year was, highly rated at Borussia Mönchengladbach. These are two defenders that we don't think are good enough for our team, even Llorente. And this is the point. It's about the profile of the fit. For me, although Koch's a decent defender, he's not physically dominant. He got bullied too much. We need a physically dominant defender, in my opinion.
And Biol is one of them, but I have my doubts, because he's a unit, completely unit. He's like, he's from Slovenia. He's like he's grown between the mountains and down Mount Triglav, in Slovenia. He's like a proper beast, But he's like an all-star defender. If you look at him, you instantly say, "Oh, that's the defender that's gonna scrap with the striker." But the ball trait and ball carrying it there, not his best trait. He's an all-star defender. Maybe some of you remember him from the Euros, and he's very different compared to Rodon. I think I do like Elvedi too. The Elvedi and Biol are similar in a certain sense. Of course, Biol is stronger. Is larger too, but I think a profile similar to Rodon. If you want to name one, is his teammate, the teammate of Biol at Udinese, but he has a lot of shooters already. Umar Soleh, they got him in January from RB Salzburg. So the Red Bull link. Very good with ball carrying. Is very, very, very similar to Rodon in that trait. So, but we will need to splash the cash. But even Matthias Ginter, for example, he's 31, so that would be an experienced player. And by the way, it's so good that we can mention these names now and not. Sorry, lads, but Poyampalo, Benes, all those the OGs, of these formats.
No, we can actually name players that are playing players at the top of Europe. It's crazy.
Do you know what, though? I'm so excited. Like, it is so exciting, though. Like, we're like, I don't know, like, just being in the Premier League and being able to fucking mix it with the big boys and stuff, man. I can't wait. But it's going to be tough, innit? It's definitely going to be tough.
It is, mate. This is why, for me, I still think we need one or two gems to sign. You always do. You always need a talent. For me, Enciso, if you can get him, I think that'd be an outstanding signing. I really do. I've always liked him, though. Maybe I'm a bit biased. But for me, it's physicality, determination, grit, passion. I think they're really important for us for this year. I really do. I think we've got a lot of talented players already. Look at our wing options, Ramazani, James, Nonto, they'll cause trouble. You've got Tanaka and Ampadu in midfield. It's pretty decent. We just need, for me, some real physicality. Some athletes, in my opinion. I think that's what this team's missing. You looked at the game against Plymouth and Bundu, who, is a decent player, but he was tearing us apart. Imagine adding 15%, 20% quality on the end of that. So what I mean? That's what you're facing every week.
Yeah,
we need physical players 100% for me.
Yeah, I think as well. Like, it's like I've got Newcastle on the fucking mind tonight, but like Newcastle for me is a great. I don't know, like case study or whatever in terms of players, right? Because if you look at Murphy this season, he's been unreal. Almiron before. There is an opportunity. Like, if we were linked to Murphy, everyone would go, I want that. It's terrible. Now he's lighting it up. These lads have played in the Champions League. Do you know what I mean? So I think sometimes when we see certain players, and I do look in my comments and I see like everyone battering Beto and all this other stuff, there is a case of like different clubs, it can work. These players need to be given an opportunity. Unfortunately, we're going to have to do that. And I would much rather us buy players that have played in the Premier League, for me anyway. I mean, look at Burn, like Kershaw says, amazing.
Alanga is a great. It was at Man United. He struggled
Rhythm is a dancer, Anthony Alanga.
Went out on loan, came back, and everyone were going, "What's he going to do?" And look at him. Hudson-Odoi failed at Chelsea. Well, not he had.
Of course.
Started well, didn't he? But fell off massively. Came back. Even Gibbs White, look at him playing in that team. Even Elliot Anderson
going to City. Apparently,
Chris Wood. Who'd have thought?
Chris Wood
for his injury. This is the
bro.
point,
I've got a short out there that's still now right. I put a short out laughing at the amount of money they paid for Chris Wood, and what wages he was on. And now this season, genuinely, it's been viewed so many times that every other day I get a Forest fan saying, "You absolute fucking clown." I'm like,
I remember that.
Do you remember it?
No. I've watched it. I think I watched it. But you know that kind of stuff. I remember when years ago. You remember when we were in the lower end of the championship, and Barnsley and Huddersfield, they drew like 0-0. I think it was 2-2. Last day of the season, and they play like slow for a lot of like 5 minutes. Because both of them stay up with the draw.
Right.
So I think I typed down. I was like in first year of high school. I typed down unacceptable. There's only one team in Yorkshire, Leeds. Back then, 14, 15 years of age, and like years later, there was a Barnsley fan commenting to me and say, "Where's Sam Wynall, mate?" Because we were linked to Sam Wynall, back then.
I'm sure you're getting in beef with a Barnsley folk in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But like this is it for me, Joe. Like Chris Wood's like, who'd have thought he'd have done this? Even Nuno, like, failed at Spurs. Come back, smashed it. He's got players around him that believe in him. He's got players that are quick, powerful, strong, brave. That's what we need. Aina is a great example as well. Like
Aina. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we were linked to him a few seasons ago, and people were like, "No," and look at him now.
Andre mentioned a name and a player I really like, Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah,
I'd love him. And obviously the injury record is
that's the problem.
And if it wasn't, I'm hearing that name, I'm going, like that is that type 100%. Of player that I'm thinking getting back. But
can I?
We go on.
Can I talk to Andre? Sorry, just because a lot of people keep mentioning this name, and I would love him. Is it viable? People keep saying Tammy Abraham.
Nah, lads. Honestly, I won't go near him. Honestly, it's really? I think after the injury, when he returned, he had that ACL. He's been different. Okay. When he was at Roma, Mourinho played him to his best, but after the injury, he's really. He has no effect, I'm sorry. So I think he will struggle, honestly, at the minute in English football. I think he will really struggle. I think it's better for him to stay in Italy or abroad because he's not really movable. Of course, he gives his all 100% when he's played by AC Milan, but right now, I think he's as a starter, as a top 9 for a Premier League side. Maybe for a side that doesn't have a great budget, maybe yes, but for others, I won't. I don't see him as a starting 9 anymore. Honestly, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also the case of like loans. I tell you, who is one, and it was in the comments earlier on. What about Harwood Bellis on the left side from Southampton? If you could get him,
how much money did they spend? We know that. We can check very quickly.
Because surely someone will come in from. I know Southampton have been piss poor, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's a decent player. It's just, is he similar age to Strauch? Is it obviously his Asian record's a lot better, but is he that much of a step up? Really, Strauch
20 million.
That's a lot of money. Strauch he was decent in the Premier League when he was fit. Strauch was. I remember playing DM under Bielsa as well, and he was decent there. But he's also had bad years in the Prem. So has Harwood Bellis. In that Southampton team, no one could have been great. Maybe it's a tough one because it depends for me on how we play as well. I saw the Sky Sports article and it mentioned about us signing a centre mid, a goalkeeper, a striker. It never said anything about a 10.
It said midfielder though. Do you think they just class that as a midfielder in the article, or
potentially, maybe? But then I'm thinking we need 2 because we need a box to box for me as well.
Yeah.
But if it didn't, then if they didn't mean that and they meant an actual box to box midfielder, I'm thinking are we changing our formation, going 4-3-3, 3 in midfield maybe for the Premier League, or maybe even a back three, so we can really use Bogle and Firpo. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting summer. I'm just honestly, mate, I'm just proper excited to see who we're linked with.
Yeah,
and I'm honestly not expecting, like you said, these extravagant European names. I'd like one or two decent ones, but I just want proven players that 100% fight for the team.
And I think that's where we went wrong, Lockie. It's like we got to Prem, right? And Ort was talking about the cream of the crop of the Championship, yeah. And look how well Watkins went on to do, for example, right? And then he got offered Spain's number 9, Rodrigo, international defender Diego Llorente, and he were like, oh my God, and he couldn't wait to get on these private jets and stuff. And I just think, at least with who we've got in charge now, I do think there'll be a lot more grounded and good. Because we can see that in the Championship. Even when Orta first came in, you look at the signing, Powell Sabicki, J. Roy Grott. He just loved getting players from Europe, tried like reclamation projects. Whereas this current ownership, they've not gone wild at all. They've got from Europe's top 5 leagues, you know what I mean? They've gone from the Bundesliga, even the second division. They got Tanaka. They've gone and got a very good prospect in Schmidt, for example. But everyone else has been in Europe, you know what I mean? I know Schmidt's in Europe, but less than only. So I just think that's what they'll do is look for Premier League proven and understand that that's what we're going to need for the next few years to make sure we stay in the division, because that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, and I think one thing that makes me a lot of happy now, I always ask for it, during the season, you remember it. I wanted clarity and a defined structure behind the scenes in the transfer department, and now finally they had, they have a defined individual that needs to do the transfers, a defined structure, a technical director. We have the Steinson in the higher role. Finally, there's a defined structure at least, and not many roles with similar names. Now it's defined. And you know what? I think I'm more relaxed now because I think they know the market. It's a completely different market. I think they know the market better because it's Premier League opens you to a totally different market. And I think the people that now we have, Steinson is working for the 49ers. We don't know the extent of the connection. Of course, they are shareholders, inside the 49ers enterprises, Red Bull. They are just a sponsor, right now, but we don't know if they're going to have an impact in terms of using that network, that they have now with Klopp, because they are shareholders. But we don't know if with the Premier League, their shareholding, their shares give them a different, saying on certain things, or they just remain just a sponsor or just a normal investor like the others, like the individual investors. But the fact that we have also people that know the English market, like we said, we just said, they will go look at Premier League rating players because we've seen that for the links, and it's a good strategy. But I think it worked the first season with Horta because we got him experienced players, not unknowns, like Llorente had played for Spain, was playing for Real Sociedad. Robin Koch had already been capped by Germany, was playing for Freiburg, a club on the rise. Rodrigo was playing for Spain, for Valencia. They spent a huge amount of money, and maybe in how do you say that? Looking back to it, now maybe we can say we spent a huge amount of money of 4/5 players. Can't remember the correct name. Llorente, Koch, Rodrigo, Rafinha. Top signings, especially the last two, on paper. Then we saw, of course, Rodrigo, Rafinha. Koch had his ups and downs. Llorente had his injuries, worries, but maybe they could have been distributed better, that money, because we overspent for Dan James the second season, and we overspent for Junior Firpo the second season. Maybe if we didn't overspend, we could have distributed the money to more players, getting in more players and having more squad depth, because Bielsa, it will never get out of my head that he was sacked also because remember we played a game with Drame, with all the youngsters against Arsenal.
The bench was Archie Gray was on the bench for that Arsenal game, wasn't it? A mental man.
That was wild.
He was 15 at the time, 14.
Yeah, 15.
Young, very young. Yeah. I wanted to ask you guys something. Say, I don't know if we're getting Solomon's, but right now we haven't signed him, have we? He's not our player. Well, I don't know when it runs out, but he's not our player at the moment, right?
What do you think about the Instagram post then, bro?
Amazing to
good
read.
buy.
It's hard. I think he put it in the air a bit with that, and he's kind of had a really nice message in case he does go, but he didn't say. Yeah. He kind of said, "We'll see." I hope he stays, but again, price is important to me. Because what else I was going to ask on that? Take him out of it. Say he doesn't sign. James, Ramazani, Nonto. Are you happy with them as wingers in the Prem? Because for me, almost every team in the Prem has unbelievable wingers. I think it's you know what I mean,
bro. I genuinely think, and I can't believe I'm saying this. It's a conversation even over James, and he was our most successful winger. But the last time he was in the Prem, he really struggled. Now his game has improved, but he has a lot more efforts at goal in the Championship than he'll be afforded in the Prem, and I just don't want that. He's one-on-one only say once a game, and he's fluffing his lines because he then quickly becomes the frustrating Dan James again. Does that make sense? Because we have seen, look, his finishing has improved, but even sometimes this season, he's cutting on his left, bang it, and it'll go wild over. I just think sometimes we need efficiency, man. We're going to need efficiency. And I just hope he can maintain that, which is mad because he's been one of our best players. But I'm going, oh God, it's the Prem. It's a step up. But
and a lot of our creativity is wide. Most of it. There's a lot of pressure on them. They're all young, inexperienced. Well, James is a bit older now. But Nonto, it was good for a period in the Prem, but that's not the second half he weren't. I remember Sam Allardyce saying on his podcast, you don't know why he's not playing. And he came in and didn't play him. So there's clearly confidence issues, clearly a reason why we weren't playing him. Now, we've seen the good side on this season, but we've also seen inconsistencies. Can he refine that level for the Prem? It's a risk. Ramazani's never played in it. A risk. Dan James, last time he was in it, wasn't great, although, he has improved.
Yeah.
That's a really important position for me. Probably the most in the way we play. In the final third, our wingers are vital out there, let's be honest. So this is the thing with Solomon. I'm thinking, I want him, but if you're paying loads of money, there's wingers in Europe that are really good that would want to play in the Premier League.
What happened to Santi Hansen, by the way?
Well, he's doing all right. He did all right. He was injured the start of the season. He couldn't get back in the team, but he's been playing well recently. Is Santi Hansen? Yeah.
What about Polly and Pano? What about Polly and Pano? I pulled him on Inform. I got an 88 Inform other week, didn't I? Remember I showed it you.
Poi Palo moved to Palermo for 4 million, from Serie A, went like a league down, and he's been five goals. He got a penalty save the other day, but 12 games, 9 goals, 3 assists. He's always the Finland beast, Finnish beast instead of a fire beast. But I've been reading because I saw that Loki mentioned about the Dana post, the soon to be wife, of Mano Solomon. I don't know if they're have wed yet or not, So I went and check on Instagram, it's written in Hebrew, down that, and but I read the part written in English, and honestly, I think I don't see a particular thing, I think it's a normal message if you don't know what's going to happen. I think Solomon was pretty clear about the fact that I think reading between his lips, I think he would like to stay, of course, in the Premier League, but as soon as it's being linked, I don't know if it's a viable link or a serious one to Marseille. Honestly, I don't know, but I think again, like we said with Roda and Ben White when there was the first season back in the Prem, as long as the money is right, otherwise, like Loki says, there's a lot of wingers, and this time I would rather look because Nyonto, we don't know how he's going to be in the Prem, same as James. And let's talk about Ramazani too, because we've seen that after the injury, he had limited chances, especially against the game against Bristol City. He had impact like he did in the first part of the season, but we've seen that it doesn't work out like both parties, I think, wanted to, him and Farke. So I think there might be, if an offer arrives, it's the same discussion as Matteo Joseph, because I think so. Honestly, I think so, because otherwise he would have had much more opportunities. And if I try, of course, he was the art of the party, and I would like him to stay. But again, if I'm the player, I'm thinking, I'll have to graft again. I've barely played in the second half of the season after I've returned from injury. Do I really want to go into a season? Okay, I would be playing in the Premier League for the first time as a proper squad player, because at Man United, I think he had one cap, in the FA Cup. Do I really want to go through this again? Or if an offer, and I'm sure an offer will arrive, I want to be a guaranteed starter like I was at Almeria. I don't know, honestly. It's down to him too. I would like him to stay, but we need definitely two wingers, one on the left and one on the right. And if Solomon doesn't stay, two on the left and one on the right.
Yeah. My thing with Ramazani is I feel like he came back to Leeds to do it in the. I feel like that's what his goal is now. I feel like he really wants to try that. Well, obviously, for me, if he's we're in January and he's not played that much in the season, then he might consider it. But I do think he's more than anyone, I'd say, extremely motivated to work, because obviously he was at Man United, got let go for whatever reason there. I think he really wants to do it in the Prem just to prove that wrong and prove that he can do it. And I hope, like you say, he's an excellent character. Yeah. He's the type of character you need.
Mate, when he caught them 3 flares, man.
Yeah. He was loving it, wasn't he?
Stone cold, yeah, with the beers.
Brilliant, man. Yeah, amazing.
But I just want to mention it because I just think wings it's so important for the way we play. And the Premier League is, all the wingers in this league are a joke. Even you look at Kudos and Bowen, who were at West Ham, who were near the bottom of the league. They're their wingers.
I love like Wisser and that Meehan and Buemo, players like that, and
top players.
Just Sharda, even there's loads in the Premier League, man, that just are unreal. So
we should sign Gilavogui, the other one, not this one. His brother. No, his brother is doing fine, Okay. His brother is doing fine. 7 goals, I think, or 9 for St. Pauli in the Bundesliga.
Maybe he can put in a word. Maybe I think Gulavogi's going. I saw his shirt at the end, and it was signed by everybody, and you just think that's probably maybe by maybe, I don't know.
He's done his thing. He did what he came.
Yeah, he did, man.
Obviously, he played, but he didn't get brought in to play. Did he get brought in to be that guy in the back room and motivate the players? And clearly, they all absolutely love him. So, honestly, big up to him. He came in. We needed that, I think, in the dressing room, and they all absolutely love him whenever they speak about him. So he did his job. He did what he came to do. So it was nice to see him. Nice little break up in the season when he came in, and his lovely smile and his lovely tweets. So.
Yeah, it was class. Did you see some of the stuff on the shirt? They were like, you're my dad and granddad and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mint that,
innit? It was.
Funny. So funny when he posted the dressing room footage, I predict a riot with the French accent in the background. Top man, and I want to take this opportunity to, because we're talking about Gilavogui. If some people don't know, he has a foundation in Guinea. He was born in France, but even played for France, but he has a foundation for an orphanage, in Guinea. So go check it out because it's proper. He's a top man. Caring about others, and what he's doing down there in the country of his parents is absolutely brilliant. Giving a future to those kids.
Yeah, 100%. Right, boys. To finish up, we have some super chats. Listen, it's been great to have these two on tonight. We will do, hopefully, more shows. I know Lockie will be doing loads of scouting videos where it'll go more in depth to maybe some names we might mention on here from time to time. So make sure you go on over and check out Lockie Leeds. Obviously, check out Andrea for everything sport related. He's your man. Let's go through these super chats now. Libel says, I think it'll be done in around 50 million. He wants to be here. They want to sell. Daniel Levy needs to settle on the 15 to 18 million, which, of course, is Solomon. I hope we can get it done for that. That'd be great. Hi, Joe. We need a goalkeeper. I understand this may be a long shot, but what about Lunanin, who is looking for more playing time? I think, again, we go Premier League second choice or ones that maybe potential. Look, Hermanson's been relegated with Leicester. He could go to a Chelsea. Chelsea, there's keepers there. You've got Sam Johnston, who's available. Nick Pope could be available. I genuinely think they'll look to try and do something over these shores. I do, genuinely. So, and they'll be cheap. You can get a Sam Johnson very cheap, I think, English goalkeepers. So that's. Do you have any thoughts on that, lads, on goalkeepers at all?
I think we got one from Germany instead. I think we got one from. Yeah, I think we got one from the Bundesliga. Maybe not Damen was being mentioned, but yeah, put down some names. Yeah. Also from France, I think there's good goalkeepers. Like Petrovic at Strasbourg, or he was at Chelsea.
Remember Samba at Forest?
At Lens. Yeah, he's at Lens.
Yeah, top keeper, man.
There's also some good, like you said, there's some good second choices that Perez, for example, at Bayern, Israeli/German, I've put down some names, if you want to spend big, there's also Grabara, for example, at Wolfsburg, but yeah. I think there's a good Rest at Toulouse. There's plenty of options. Even Italy, you can go for. Let's take Caprile back, lads. Let's take Caprile back, lads.
And if Sheffield United don't go up, I'm taking Cooper. Yeah. I wanted him to start this year.
Would you? Would you take Cooper?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's just very solid. I don't think he lets you down and he makes some good saves for me, Joe. I don't think he's a risk. I think he's just a solid goalkeeper that will make saves. Yeah,
definitely. That's fair. Andrew Forbes says, Tinterweb gossip on Richarlison, 30 million BS. Genuinely, I would rather Beto. That might be a hot take, but I would rather Beto.
Yeah, he's more reliable.
I think Beto probably scores more goals than what Richarlison does. I genuinely would rather Beto than Richarlison.
Richarlison's a weird player.
Strange.
He used to be unbelievable, didn't he? He's kind of. I haven't seen much from this year. I don't know if he's had a good. I genuinely don't know if he's had a good year.
I think he's been injured, mate. But Spurs fans, I know we're not Spurs, but then again, they are down bottom end at table.
Yeah, so maybe is he the pigeon that Joby was talking about?
Yeah, the pigeon.
No, I will take him honest. I think if I can make him work, I think he has that shithouser in him, when he posted him guiding the boss, when Carragher criticized him,
Yeah.
But I don't think, honestly, I don't know. He was the center forward for Brazil, like in the last World Cup. So I think he wants to play shout. Maybe if it's not work for him at Tottenham, moving maybe to Spain.
The ego in him is insane.
Atletico, for example.
Has he got a Mount Rushmore on his back of Ronaldo, and he's got himself on the Mount Rushmore, hasn't he?
Got to back yourself. Got to back yourself, sure.
Fucking, there's backing yourself, bro, and that's just crazy, man. You know what I mean?
That's the next tattoo that you're gonna get, with with Bielsa, fuck.
I've got the picture, bro. I've got the picture. Yeah. I haven't done that for years. I don't know what that was about.
I just
go on, mate.
Oh, sorry, I just want Harry Clarkson put a comment a minute ago. Ritsu Doan, who plays in Germany, winger, unbelievable player. He's one Japanese international.
Freiburg,
top player. Yeah,
top. Friend of Tanaka too.
Yeah. Get some.
And he's blonde. He's blonde like Malfoy. By the way, he's not natural blonde.
And then Kershaw, who we I met at the weekend. I don't know if did you? I don't think you were there, Lockie, were you?
No.
Parag said tough choices will need to be made. For me, that's Nonto. Hardly started this season and will be worth over 20 million. There will be some ones like that, I think, because if we're being honest, the Gray one took us well by surprise. So we could see another one like that. You're right. I think it'll be Jordan, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Legend Kershaw. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, there will be. I don't know who though. It worries me a little bit. This I don't like it. I want to keep them all and just get more. Do you know what I mean? Keep them all and just bring some more in, but we can't do that, obviously. Yeah, Aronson's an interesting one as well. I don't know something about. I think he'll want to play. Will he play for us next year? I'm not sure he will. I don't know.
No, I don't think he will. Nah.
It's over. Jack Harrison is over at Leeds,
Aronson, sorry, not Harrison.
Sorry. Just to that.
Right, boys. I think we will. I think we will leave it there. It's been a great show. Been great to chat transfers again. However brief it was. It was good video. Thank you, lads, for coming on. Tomorrow is Thursday. Folks, yeah, the playoffs are tomorrow. Sheffield United take Bristol City. Yeah. And then again on Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday. So with that in mind, actually, let's just quickly get your predictions for them two games. Andrea, so Sheffield United versus Bristol City tomorrow night. How do you see that one going? Who's going to make it through to the final, I guess?
It's open, I think. It's not, people, of course, say Sheffield United, but I think it will go down to the last minute of the second leg, honestly. I think Bristol City might be in for a surprise, Sheffield United might be for a surprise by Bristol City, I think, I've seen that they did a great charity match at Bramall Lane recently. Maybe Steve Bracknell wants to take over, from Chris Wilder after that, maybe they get some. He's a Wednesday fan, by the way. Yeah, I think Bristol City, and the other one, I think Sunderland get through.
Yeah.
I think Sunderland win the playoffs. To be fair, I think the Mackers win it.
Coventry win it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would be good to have them though. Long time coming, honestly. Coventry.
I'm gonna go Sheffield. I think they'll scrape through it. I think. Yeah, I do. I know they've been in bad form now, but I feel like they'll just get through this one. I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see. I will be covering the game, folks. See who's going to join us in the Prem. There'll probably be some more transfer news.
How good is it that we're not in it? How good is this?
Oh, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Yeah, definitely. This time last year would have been sat on this stream going, it's all right, we can do it, play. It's better this way, winning at Wembley and all that. Do you know
we were as well, yeah, we were. If
pure
you can
copium.
do it like this, so you want
exactly, pure copium. Listen, folks, thanks for watching this evening, and this is how I end my videos now. So, don't you know, pump it up. We'll see you.
Demonetized.